the loss of a pet and the grief that you experience from that is so real and it's so valid, and it can be very intense. It's really unfortunate because pet loss often falls under something that we call a disenfranchised grief. And a disenfranchised grief refers to a type of grief that's not always socially validated, acknowledged, or understood, whether that's by sort of our support circle or sometimes even on a societal level. And the problem with pet loss sometimes falling under that umbrella is that, I think when you look at grief in general, it's pretty isolating. In any context, grief is isolating. So you sort of add this layer where we have a grief that's just not always validated on the same level as maybe a human loss is. And suddenly our support circle becomes even smaller, or who we think we can talk to sometimes becomes even smaller. A lot of people experience embarrassment or shame from feeling so intensely over the loss of a pet. It's a very normal thing to feel. I want to look at the human-animal bond again for a second. What makes it unique again? I've said it a million times. It's unconditional. It's unspoken. They're with us every day. We care for them. They care for us. How could that not be a significant loss? When people come into my office or into our space to talk about the grief that they're experiencing, they'll say something along the lines of, I've lost this other person before. Sibling, mother, spouse, father. How come I am crying harder? How come I seem more like a wreck this time than I did for those losses? It's not that I wasn't sad for those losses, but I find that I can't even console myself about this. That happens all the time. So many times it comes up in session. And I want to say right now, that is not because you've loved those other beings you've lost any less. It is different from grief experience to grief experience. It doesn't always look the same. Sometimes even from person to person or from animal to animal, it hits us differently. Depends on a lot of things, right? How we've connected with that being is probably the biggest thing, but also the context of our life. So much goes into why we feel the way we do after we lose a significant relationship. And a lot of times our grief mirrors how special that relationship was. So it's a very real grief and it's very valid.
I think it can be really difficult for people who haven't experienced like a really deep love for a pet to understand what someone's going through when they lose their pet who they love very much. I often hear about this from clients either beforehand, before the loss, people are worried that other people might not understand, and then afterwards, things like colleagues at work or sometimes even, other extended family members, that sort of thing, don't understand. But it's a huge loss because for most people, we live with our pets, we see them every day. Often they're with us every moment of our waking hours. And so to have that companion not be there anymore is huge, and it's devastating. Different people cope differently and different people need different things. And it can be hard, I think, for people to explain what is going on with them if they feel that that's not going to be well received. If people ask me about that ahead of time, I suggest that they lay some groundwork by talking to the people around them at work and their families and letting people know, I'm going to be really upset when this happens and I might need to take some time off. I'm going to need some support. And just say what you need. And hopefully people will surprise them by being more understanding than they anticipate. I think that's gotten much better over the years. I really encourage people to reach out for the support that they need and say what they need.
Pet loss is so disenfranchised, even still today. Pet parents are continually bombarded by thoughtless comments. Come on, stop moping around. It's been almost 2 months and you're still grieving the loss. You know what? You have to pick yourself up. Why don't you just get another dog, cat, horse, bird? Statements like that. What that does is it just pushes that grief and an element of shame further inside the bereaved. I think if there's anything that we can do as people in this industry and working is to get the word out that pet loss grief is so real, it is immeasurable as you're going through it. If you can find somebody or an organization or talk to your vet about finding people who can help you through it. That is the most important thing that I want to get out into the field right now.